Welcome back to another episode of that Boat Babe podcast with your favorite boat babe here, Mary Allison. I am sitting in my cockpit in the Florida Everglades. I can't believe this is how far I've come. And I wanted to document this trip that I've been on, but honestly, it's been so overwhelming getting to know the boat offshore again, getting to know where I am, my bearing. I mean, it's just been a lot. And if you hear stuff in the background, laughter, you can probably hear the dinghy. I've got the water lapping up against the hull right now. That is what is surrounding me. I'm not doing a video podcast right now because I haven't showered in days, and sometimes it prohibits me from actually just doing an impromptu podcast episode that I just want to get out. I feel bad I wasn't able to upload a YouTube video this past week either. But sometimes life just happens and I'm doing the best I can. Let's just start with that. But yeah, so if you followed along this journey, you have seen or heard what I've been through trying to do basically an entire refit on Rhiannon by myself, about 90% of the time. And it's crazy how, as you've heard, if you've listened to me from the beginning, the reason I hauled out was just because my diver was having a heart attack and saying, "You've got to have a new bottom job. Oh my God, your bottom's terrible." And then I haul out and I'm like, actually, it's fine. I could have waited another year or two. But obviously, for a diver, I guess if you have a fresh bottom job, it makes his life easier. So that's what he got. But unfortunately, he missed what, how many, six, seven bottom job, cleaning payments that I could have paid him because I was hauled out at the yard. So, I did an entire refit on Rhiannon and I'm still in the process of updating things. And at that time, I had no idea that this dream of mine of sailing down island to the Bahamas and then back down to the Caribbean would ever come true. I honestly just started doing the refit because I felt like it was necessary. It came so easy. I look around at this beautiful ice blue cockpit with no more spider cracks and a fresh, beautiful paint job. And I look around at the boat at the non skid that's just gorgeous. And I think to myself, did I actually do that? Did I really? This teak, did I actually take care of the teak? All the caulk? Like everything that's come together. I honestly look back and as I don't know. I don't even know if I want to say it was overwhelming at times. I mean, it was, but for some reason, this project was something I feel like I just bit off a little bit at a time. The only really hard part that I look back on was spraying because I wasn't inside. I was exposed to tons of wind and it was in the winter. It was very hard to spray. And so thankfully I did get help with that. But everything else was, I don't know. It's kind of like going through labor. When you have a baby, you look back and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. We can have their second. But in the middle of it, you feel like you're dying. So here we are, anchored off of where are we? Middle Cape? Is that right? Yeah, there's Lower Cape, Middle Cape. This is we're north of Cape Sable. Last night we were at Indian Key. And before that, Sanibel Island. And before that, Port St. Joe. And before that, Orange Beach, Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. So this whole trip has gone completely opposite than planned. And obviously, that started when we went offshore the first time and we had to turn around because our engine mounts were broken. We needed a new cutlass bearing, and the transmission was a totally disaster, and the drive shaft seal. So we got through that. But you know what? I have to tell you, and I don't mean this in a cliche saying, but it's going to come out that way. I swear everything happens for a reason. If you were sitting there wondering if everything happens for a reason, I really, really do believe that it does. And let me tell you why. We ended up having to go back to Pirates Cove, and I was so bummed. I thought we were going to be there for a couple days, and then did y'all remember my engine wouldn't start? So the whole engine needed to be rebuilt. Well, I'm not even going to say that. It was flooded. We hydrolocked it. So new gaskets, head had to come off, cylinders had to be shaved, the whole 9 yards. It was just not fun. Then the water tank leak. So after those projects were fixed, we looked at the weather, and all of a sudden, Orange Beach, Alabama got over 14 inches of snow. The most beautiful snow blizzard that I've ever seen in my life happened on the Gulf Coast. The last time there was more than 3 inches of snow in the Gulf was in, I think it was the late 1890s. So I felt like this was pretty spectacular. And I would have been really bummed if we would have missed it. And so we wake up, and sure enough, we had more snow than we knew what to do with. We were able to play in the snow all day, take pictures in the snow, have snowball fights. I mean, just walk around at the beauty of the snow on the beach and all over the boats and all over Pirates Cove. I mean, it was just the most magical couple days. I can't even describe. I mean, I wouldn't even have been able to like find another memory that even topped up to that one. It was incredible. So we were able to play in the snow, and then as it kind of started to melt, everything fell into place, and we were able to leave and head out of Pirates Cove. And we were like, you know what? Let's do it. It's now or never. We have an amazing weather window, and we headed offshore, and we didn't look back. I thought we were going to do overnights, which that is doable. I thought we were going to do overnights, anchor, sleep, wake up, keep going, but it did not work out. I was like, you know what? We're just going to I have to have faith. I was scared because our radar wasn't working, first of all. And I was nervous at any debris that was offshore from any of the hurricanes that we've had lately, like in the past season. So, yeah, I had fears, but I was also like, I feel like I'm prepared. I feel like I'm here for a reason. I feel like this timing is correct. So let's just wing it and go for it. And it worked out perfect. Rhiannon has done amazing. Going offshore at Pensacola was nice because we could see land the whole way. You just set the course for Port St. Joe, and we just did it. I think it was around 80 miles, maybe 100, and it was, I can't even remember if it was, I think it was pretty smooth. That one was pretty easy. Overnight at Port St. Joe was nice, catch up on sleep, take a shower. We played with the water maker, got the water maker working, and then we kind of messed up our timing the next day. We were trying to wait for the waves to die down a little bit, but unfortunately the wind died down at the same time. And we went offshore and went a little too far offshore and hit like we had I think a 6 to 8 foot wave at us break in front of us. And we were like, well, if we get out of this, that'll be great. So we got out of that, headed towards, no, then we had an overnight, I think. I think it was another overnight sail to Sanibel. It was one of those situations where I was like, this is not convenient to stop in Clearwater because of the tides. This is not convenient to stop in Tampa. It's not convenient to stop at the next stop. I guess we're just going to keep going. And we were sailing 7.5 knots, and it was just amazing. So for the overnights, if you're curious what that actually looks like, I set my alarm for every 15 minutes. So I'd doze off for 15 minutes. My alarm would go off. I'd check the chart, look out, see where we are. Everything was fine. Fall back to sleep, set the alarm. I do that every 15 minutes for about 3 hours. And it made it to where I wasn't as exhausted the next day, but I have heard people do that like 30-minute intervals. That's probably what we'll do next time. But being up here in the cockpit's really great because it's enclosed, but the one downside to that is it's actually pretty difficult to see out. So, I was having to rely on, kind of actually having to get up, peek out, make sure everything's fine. Okay, you know, get some rest. But it was freezing. I mean, we had what, snow, right before, so I couldn't complain about the cockpit. And then afterward, when we got to Sanibel, I actually realized I probably wouldn't have stopped at Sanibel Island if I knew how huge the inlet was. I mean, it took like an hour and a half just to get back to the anchorage, and it was kind of pointless. Like we probably could have just kept sailing. So I think we would have definitely skipped that. So I now have a beeping noise on the boat that I'm not sure what it is. So I'm going to go down and check that out. But there is the first little leg of where we're at. And after that, we headed down towards the Everglades. So I'll catch y'all up on the Everglades. I'm going to go figure out what this beeping noise is. And sorry, this is just short and sweet, but I wanted to give you an update. And I can't wait to share an anchorage with you. It's so nice to be here on anchor with two loopers. I'm actually about a mile offshore right now of the beach where we saw saltwater croc like trails. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, so it is nice. It's nice having people out around, but I am looking forward to being in marathon. I'm really looking forward to actually being with tons of people around. So, okay, I've got to go find out what this beeping noise is, but I will catch up with you soon. I love you so much. Thanks for listening. If we're not friends on Instagram, follow me at That Boat Babe, and also go over to YouTube and find That Boat Babe and go ahead and subscribe and share us with your friends. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Love you. Mwah. Bye.